On this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast, we talk about lift your skinny fists like antennas to heaven by Godspeed, you black emperor.
I don't know what the accent is. What is that accent?
I don't know. It was kind of a Louisiana thing, which they're French Canadian, so...
ultimately, that's what happened. They moved down from Arcadia and they became Cajuns.
Yep.
It's not even close.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Bronze Metalist. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal. We like talking about it, but it's September. So we're taking the month off from metal to talk about albums and other genres that we appreciate and enjoy.
Like a palate cleanser, like eating a cracker.
Yeah.
Between sips of fine wine.
Yes, exactly. Every fine wine needs a cracker.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's got two.
Two, yeah.
But yeah, today we're talking about the longest album title we've had so far on the show, which is Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven by Godspeed You Black Emperor. They are a Canadian, French-Canadian experimental music collective, shall we say, rather than band.
How many members in the band?
It varies.
Yeah.
The early days they came and went.
Sure.
Today I think the lineup is fairly stable. I think it's like 9. Let me take a look. What's Wikipedia got to say here? These days, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 9.
9.
There's still 9 members in this band.
I knew I was right about that.
It's like Slipknot, except better. And also,
I think they toured together.
And also, not at all the same thing.
No, not even.
Completely and utterly different.
They record sounds.
That's
about
they record sounds. Some of them play guitars.
Yeah, they're
and
drums.
bass guitars and drums. Surprisingly, no one in this band plays a keg.
No, with a baseball bat. No, that doesn't happen in this.
No one plays a keg with a baseball bat.
No one wears clown makeup.
Yeah, no one wears. Well, it'd be a mask.
Right?
It's a mask. Yeah, nobody's wearing masks in this band either.
As far as we know.
I haven't seen them live, but I don't think they disguise themselves in any manner whatsoever. They let the music speak for itself, and what it has to say is pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, it's not all that fucking weird. It's kind of
compared to like I don't know why the first artist that came to my mind was Kylie Minogue.
What?
I don't know anything about Kylie Minogue.
Really?
What I wanted to say, compared to like a Kylie Minogue record, it's pretty weird.
I think I just changed my next week's album.
Compared to like some contemporary pop of the year 2000, compared to Britney Spears, it's pretty weird.
Yeah, it's out there. I mean, it's very emotional, very moody, very
extremely emotional.
Yeah,
but all entirely without lyrics. There's human voices on this, but it's all samples of people talking.
Yeah,
about different things. Heavy use of samples. We'll get a bit more into the record a little bit later on. First, what's up? How you doing?
Life is good, man. It's been raining all friggin' day,
all week, basically.
Yeah, it's very moist out there right now.
It's Scotland week this week in North Dakota, and then Monday we're gonna be back to 80. So
sure, and dry up.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
I didn't see anything about rain next week, so I'm. God, though, I'm tired of this shit.
I still have my guitar equipment up on stuff.
Yeah.
Because I can't put it on the floor.
Because your basement is flooded.
Yeah, it's an ocean down there.
And
I have a gondola set up.
And I have to walk to work every day.
Yeah.
So I've been, like, I don't have any rain gear.
No.
I don't have any umbrellas because I will need it about 5 days a year, and all 5 of those days have been this week.
Yeah.
Basically. So I don't have any particularly like rain appropriate clothing. So I walked into work this morning pretty soaked.
Sure. And every day about 11 o'clock when you go home to lunch, you have this look on your face like, oh, fuck.
God damn it. I have to go back out there. So, yeah, that's been unpleasant. Speaking of something else unpleasant,
yeah,
I'm about to overshare, just a warning.
Okay, here we
go. Sometimes people get a little blue. Today we're going to get a little brown.
Oh, wow. Is there bleeding? Do you have a little bit of...
No, there's no bleeding. When I went home today, there was one of those times where you really think, man, why are bidets not the standard?
But you run out of TP
of cleaning. No, I did not run out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
If I would have continued on the path I had gone down,
sure,
I probably would have used up the entire roll. So
wow, are you all right? I mean, and why are you sharing this?
Because it's something that happened to me, and
right.
God damn it, I don't have much going on. So like, you ever take a shit?
Okay.
And not cut it off properly. Like you're sitting there and like you
didn't bring your scissor in.
You don't feel like you're done,
right.
But you've been sitting on the toilet for a while and it just didn't cut off cleanly. It wasn't the end of that piece of shit. Well, I didn't realize that. Everything felt fine. I stand up, I start wiping. It got all over. Somehow.
You have a shower right there. You could.
That's the next part of the story.
That was the next part of the story?
But I was taking a shit on my lunch break. It's not the time of the day where you're like, well, I guess I'm taking a fucking shower now.
Well, it would have been fine because you cut your hair all short and stuff, so we wouldn't have noticed your hair had been wet.
I didn't. It was just lower body, but it was it was just demeaning to myself. And now I'm sharing it to the whole world.
Now you get to be demeaned.
But you know what's? It's something everybody does.
Sure, and it only gets worse. Let me tell you that.
Yeah,
I mean, you're a young fella. I mean, your body's working properly.
Yeah, is it?
Well, it's working and it's working at its optimum from here on out.
I suppose.
Yeah, you're on this cart going downhill.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a steep fucking hill. I'll tell you that.
I had Mexican for lunch. If that means
relatable. I didn't want to have to take a shower, basically, but like it was there was enough there where like the first wipe did not clean. The first wipe made things worse. You're rubbing your face right now.
I am. I feel like we've spent a lot of time on this.
I warned you. I warned you. At any rate, I took a shower, and it's just the whole time I was thinking just like, man, I feel like a bidet would have solved a lot of this issue.
Sure. Well, your next apartment, you'll have a bidet in it.
Or I could install one here, like one of the removable ones. You don't have to get a whole new toilet. Right. They make, attachable ones.
Just make a repurposed drinking fountain. I mean, just
get yourself a bubbler.
Yeah.
So
something like that.
Yeah, that was my shitty afternoon.
Yeah, I was talking about going to eat Mexican food, and something I noticed something. Now, I think it's very important to be good to your wait staff, to be nice and polite.
Incredibly important.
And yes, that's very, very important. Tip them well, be nice to them, be courteous because they're at work and they're having to serve food to people, which is not the easiest thing.
It's not the easiest job, and most people are assholes.
Yeah, most people are. But I did find, I have found recently, and I employed this today, that whenever they come by the table and ask me a question, I make sure to give the answer that does not at all relate to that question.
Okay.
Like, how are you enjoying your meal? And I say, oh, thank you, you too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or can I
But are you doing that on purpose?
Of course.
See, I would do that on accident.
You do that on accident? Can I refill your drink? Oh, it's about 6:30.
I mean, not necessarily that, but the classic, like, have a nice day.
Uh-huh.
You too.
Or enjoy your movie. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, that sort of shit.
Yeah, well, that doesn't
sort of using the wrong automatic social response.
Enjoy your meal. You too, that you're not eating right now.
Yeah, instead of saying thanks, you
Right.
say, because I'm so used to people saying, have a nice day. Oh, you too.
Yeah.
And so I will just interpret whatever someone says to me in a
Sure.
positive tone as have a nice day.
Uh-huh. And then reply that way. You know what you could do is you could double down on it, lean into the skid, and give them an I love you.
All right, Patrick Starr.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
So how did your waitstaff react to this?
Smiles and walking away. I mean,
They're probably thinking, wow, he's fucking crazy.
yeah, whatever. I gotta go get those.
At least he was polite. But
Yeah.
man, that was odd.
Yeah. So nothing else is going on. I mean, have you?
I was
it's
thinking
remote season
a bunch of those got canceled
because of the
week.
rain. Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today, like, okay, what did I do this weekend? And the answer was fuck all.
Really? Yeah.
I cannot think of a single specific thing I did this weekend. Nothing whatsoever.
Video games, movies.
I played video games,
Sure.
but like there was not anything.
Not a new game.
Yeah, it was not a new game, not anything interesting really. It was just I was still playing Red Dead 2. Nothing changed there. So it's just the only interesting thing that has happened to me was I had a bad time on the shitter.
So relatable.
I feel like it is. People
It is.
just
Well, sure.
It is. It's super relatable. People just don't like talking about it. People need to get over themselves. Everybody shits, okay? And sometimes it gets weird, and it's nice to know that other people have weird bad times on the shitter too.
Which was the longest Mr. Rogers book on. The longest title for a Mr. Rogers book ever. Look, everybody shits, okay? It was near the end,
Sue me. Mr. Rogers is kind of turning that sounds less like a Mr. Rogers thing and more like a George Carlin bit.
Yeah.
Like a late stage George Carlin bit.
Who I saw at the end of his life.
Just
a good
angry
show.
and bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one fruit fly.
One fruit fly.
Flying around in here.
That's crazy.
It's gonna bother me the whole time. I've seen him before. I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure it's not like a relative? Because they die off fairly quickly, don't they? I mean,
One of my. Oh, I thought you.
when?
I thought you meant one of my relatives.
Oh yeah, yeah, Kale, you fruit fly. No, now you're completely distracted. They're like one of my cats. Oh, you got him. I think you got him. Did you get him?
I feel like I
there he
hit the
is.
microphone. Well, I think
did.
there's two of them actually. Because I saw it over there and then I saw it over there.
Maybe it's like a
very
hydra.
quickly.
Maybe
Oh, God.
That's
what it
squish
felt
one
like.
and two appear.
That's what it felt like last year. I had to make like traps for them.
Sure, which are gross.
Well, they weren't that gross. It was just a jar full of. I think the most effective one was lemon juice.
Yeah, I remember that because you tried different things.
I did an experiment where I had jars of many different kinds of liquid to try and see which one was the most effective.
And we talked about it on this podcast, and that leads me to that you just brought up.
You're segueing into
It's been a year.
Yeah, this is your 1 year anniversary. And it's sort of the year anniversary of us kind of restarting after there was a long break.
Sure.
After I got done with school and Jaron went off, started doing his own things. So
When his twin brother Evan and they did their band thing, and
Jaron and Evan, I don't know what you're.
Evan and Jaron, they were a band, and never mind.
Okay.
No, forget it. That's.
I probably will.
Oh, look, I already have.
Fruit fly. Yeah, so about a year ago, we released an episode about Jane Doe. So
That was it.
fun stuff. Cool.
Good album.
Good album, yeah.
To go revisit that.
Yeah, take it. Re-listen to Jane Doe sometime. It's worth it. I like that album quite a bit. You should. You know what you should do? You should listen to Jane live.
Ah, yeah.
The live version where they performed the entire album in one show.
All right.
Live. It's really good. You can watch it on YouTube as well. The whole thing. The audio quality is amazing. It's great.
All right. I'll do that.
You looked very. You looked at me like a sad dog there for a couple of seconds.
Sorry.
You're like, I gotta go watch that on YouTube.
No, that had nothing to do with that. It was one of those. You know how you have stray thoughts that wander in for no reason.
Yeah.
In the middle of you trying to think about something else.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Fruit flies and
right, and then it's hard to wipe them away.
Yeah.
Because it just spreads.
Yeah, just you spreading it all over the place.
Next thing you know, you got a shower.
Yep.
All right. So, the album this week.
Yeah. Lift Your Skinny Fists Like Antennas to Heaven by Godspeed You Black Emperor.
It's got an odd cover. What are they doing? What this is drawn pair of hands. He has the vinyl here.
Yeah.
It's a double vinyl, right?
Yes.
2 vinyl set.
Well, the hands thing, I don't know if the hands thing on the cover is related to the other artwork or if it inspired the other artwork, but the artwork on the sleeves
sure
is some political stuff, and then on one of them is a guy getting his hands cut off.
Oh, sure.
By I believe a dude wearing a Benjamin Franklin death mask, essentially. Sure. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure, because those are the same hands there. I don't know if that was a pre-existing piece of art or if that's something that was made for the vinyl after the fact. But these, I'm guessing, are the skinny fists. They're not fists, I guess, but they're hands.
Disembodied hands.
Yeah, album came out in the year 2000.
Yes.
Came out in the year 2000.
19 years ago.
On, I believe, Cranky Records.
Mm-hmm. Cranky. K-R-A-N-K-Y.
Yep. Godspeed had been around for a little while. They had started out as sort of a trio. Mm-hmm. They'd been playing some songs together, and they put a little tape together. And for a while between them starting to perform and them, releasing their first full album, which was F sharp, A sharp, Infinity. Between those points, people would just kind of come and go. They'd be a part of the band for a couple performances, and then they would leave, and it was just a revolving door until eventually they kind of stabilized on a core 9, and then would add and subtract whatever they needed for a particular album.
Just a revolving door, whatever worked.
Yeah, whatever they wanted, whatever sounds they wanted. They're like, hey, our buddy John knows how to play the trombone. Get him in here. And be like, all right, John, we're done. And that would be it. The first album kind of became a bit of a cult classic already. Had some fans out there, amongst whom is counted Danny Boyle, who included the song East Hastings on the soundtrack for 28 Days Later. Although it's not on the official release. You can hear it in the movie, but it is not a part of the official soundtrack release. The soundtrack release, that is. It's a part of the official release of the film.
Right. Did he license it? I mean...
he did not. He did not license it. I don't think Godspeed minded, because they were like, oh, hey, it's Danny Boyle, and he's making a awesome zombie movie.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's 4 songs on here. Now, one thing I noticed about there being 4 songs is if you listen to them all back to back, it almost sounds like it's just one song.
They all flow together.
Yeah.
There's definitely some differences. And there are less songs and more...
But sonic pieces. I mean, it's really...
more akin to an orchestral piece. Yeah. Especially considering the amount of band members on this album. But this came out in 2000, and they had their core 9 members, and then I believe they added 2 or 3 more members to play horns. And got to recording it. Came out as things do.
Sure.
Boy, I'm running out of steam. That whole bathroom incident just threw my whole day off.
It made things out of whack.
It's made things completely out of whack.
Made things all shitty.
So like you said, God damn it. Like you said, there are 4 songs on this record. On my vinyl release, each one occupies a side of the double vinyl. Each of them is upwards of 15 minutes long, one of which goes all the way up to 21. I think that is the longest song on the record. And there's a lot going on. So starting with the first song, which is Storm, that one has this sort of really cool like build up where it's just the horns and drums just kind of building
an acoustic
up,
guitar, and eventually filters all that stuff in. Yeah,
and it's just this beautiful building wall of sound, and then it starts to descend and starts to get weirder and weirder and more sinister in tone until that kind of resolves, and you get the AM/PM Marco market thing.
Well, that's the beginning of the second song.
Actually, no, that is the end of the first one.
That's the end of the first one?
Yes. So there are a bevy of sound samples featured on this record. That is the first one.
See, once again, I listened to it that way.
Yeah.
I listened to it all at once. I didn't choose tracks. It just said, play this album, and it went into my ear holes.
Well, and if you open up the vinyl here, you will see basically a drawn chart that does not differentiate between tracks. It just shows you like little bits that rise in intensity and different movements. Because, like I said, it is like speaking of shit,
it's a theme. Yeah,
themes tonight. Right. But like I said, it's like an orchestral. Each track is like an orchestral piece. So instead of choruses and verses, it has movements. It has musical movements. That is an entire 5 to 9 minute section of the song.
Right.
And so one of those movements is just audio from a gas station, convenience store,
and it's a really odd message, and it's real.
Yeah, they recorded it somewhere about.
I've been to an AM/PM market. I mean, that's a real thing. It's a gas station.
Yeah, don't let people come up to your cars and offer you car washes and windshield wiper cleaning and sell you.
They don't work here.
Be like, hey, if somebody comes up to you to solicit, they don't work here.
Right.
Please let us know. And that was announced.
The message just repeats over.
Repeats over the intercom. So apparently in the late 90s, that was enough of a problem at gas stations, I presume, in Canada.
Well, AM/PM is here in America. I mean,
okay, they might have been down in the States when that happened.
Who knows? Yeah, and a lot of the stuff, a lot of the sampling they have of people talking and whatnot, it's not
Canadian. Yeah, it's American.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not French Canadian at least. Yeah,
or it's most of it seems to be American people talking. Although the weird preacher in Static, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What I can't remember what the deal was with that. We tried to figure out who it was or what they were talking about. I don't think the person who was talking knew themselves who they were or what they were talking about.
Right. It was just rambling.
Yeah. So after the AM/PM market thing, I think there's one last little movement at the end of Storm, and then you get into Static. The opening of Static is classic Godspeed in the sense that it opens with the sounds of distant trains. For Godspeed fucking loves trains.
They do, and the funny thing is I have a railroad track 2 blocks from my house, so I'm hearing this shit. I'm going, is this? Am I going to take off my headphones? Am I hearing
what is this shit?
What is this? Is this on the record? What's?
Yeah. I believe I think East Hastings has that, or maybe it's one of the songs on F sharp, A sharp, Infinity. It might actually be the first song, which is Dead Flag Blues, which is the most famous sound sample they have on there. The car's on fire.
There is no driver.
There's no driver at the wheel. But opens with just a sample of a distant train, and it's sort of kind of resolves into static. I think sort of this digital static, and then you start to get a little bit of like ambient violin, I think, and then you open up into this weird preacher talking. Oh, I remember what the last movement on Storm is. It's that weird distant guy shouting into a megaphone.
Yes.
For like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can't understand a single goddamn word of it. It's utterly unintelligible, but it's clear it's some guy yelling like into a megaphone or something. And then you get into Static, and you got the
Trains, right.
and then you have this preacher who the voice seems distorted to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. I think the voice was a little distorted. I don't think that was their natural speaking voice because it was very weird. So I think it might have been a woman preaching. I'm not sure.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to tell. But just talking about how it was very like Gnostic types, like kind of mystic,
Sure,
sort of stuff that you know, if you've ever read about like mysticism and that sort of thing, like breaking through to the other side, that idea that you can, you know, see God and stuff like that. It was sort of what they were talking about, and how when you truly see God, people will think you are insane.
right. And then I have seen God.
Yeah. And then talking about that, and like, this is stuff that you won't hear in the Bible. Your Bible's not finished. And it was trying to, when I was doing research about this album and trying to figure out what the fuck that person was talking about, there was references that people, or connections people have made with like parts of Mormonism, but also parts of like Judaism and stuff like that. And Ephraim Manuk, who is the lead guitarist, is Jewish. So it's just trying to figure out where this came from, who it was, and I did not get
Dead
a concrete
ends.
answer.
Yeah.
Just dead end. But they sounded so insane. And it's in like a lot of the samples, it's distant. It's not someone who's, you know, right there up on the mic. It's clearly, you know, wherever they got this, they were a ways away when they were recording it. And then the preacher starts to fade out, and you hear just this quiet sort of plucking of, I think that was plucked guitar there. Dun, 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 dun.
Hand plucked, yeah.
Some eerie violin in the background, and things start, you know, pick up just a little bit, and then it unleashes into the weirdest moment on the album, and something that the first time I listened to it was maybe the most terrifying piece of music I'd ever heard.
Yeah.
Which is a part of the movement, has a specific name that you can actually find as essentially a song. It's one of the most bookended and enclosed movements on the record. That's called World Police and Friendly Fire. Is that long section of just weird like grinding violin and guitars, and the sort of twinkling, like oddly twinkling keyboard in the background. It's amazing, and I love it. But if you're not expecting it, it is some seriously spooky sounding shit.
It's off-putting.
It's very off-putting. I remember I saw it in a video that was called, I believe, The New Girl, which was like, it was dub over of a stop motion animated Cabbage Patch Kids thing.
Right.
And there's this girl who's playing the violin, and all of her dialogue is the Dead Flag Blues monologue. And then they're going to play this music show at the end of this little short, and the song that they play is World Police and Friendly Fire, and that was the first time I had heard anything related to Godspeed.
Yeah,
and it was so bizarre to me. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? I was like 17 going like, what is this? I have no idea what this is. And then like 2 years later, I started getting into post rock, and I was like, Godspeed You Black Emperor. I'm going to check this out. Oh, let's just lift your skinny fists like antennas to heaven. What's this? Static. Okay. Whoa. I know what this is.
This gave me nightmares.
And there is also a tiny little piece in that same video that, again, years before I listened to the particular record, is the opening like little scream. It's just a short like 2 second from I believe it's Thaw by Converge off of Jane Doe. So like we were talking about Jane Doe earlier this episode, and then Godspeed, and they have this weird connection in my life. Of both technically being introduced to both of them through this one weird fucking video
with Cabbage Patch dolls.
With animated Cabbage Patch dolls. YouTube is a weird place.
Yeah.
But I love that little short, but man, who knew it would lead me here in a roundabout sort of way. But yeah, after World Police and Friendly Fire, it has one of the most. It's a really weird section that leads into the most aggressive part of the album.
Yeah. Some real driving drums.
Yes, very driving drums.
Yeah.
And then it resolves and sort of fades into the rest of Static is actually pretty fairly peaceful and pleasant.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
And then the song sort of like the rest of that song usually ends up being a bit of a blur to me because you had this just really intense lead up, and then I just sort of the rest of it is a blur until you get to the old man talking. So the beginning of the third song, which is called Sleep.
What was his name again? Do we determine? I forgot what it is.
I can't remember.
I've forgotten.
But there's this old man who they were interviewing, who was regaling the old days of Coney Island, talking about how great it used to be, how wonderful the piers there were, and you could go to the fair, and sort of lamenting how run down it is these days. And
fell down to nothing.
He leaves it off with this incredibly melancholy statement about how, like, one time, when he was a kid, he got lost at Coney Island.
You could go sleep on the beach.
And he got found, and it's like we used to sleep on the beach here. And talking, they don't do that anymore.
No.
They don't sleep on the beach. And it's just so sad. It's so incredibly, like, you can hear so much melancholy in his voice. And the rest of Sleep kind of sort of picks the spirit up a little bit from there, and sort of getting into the last song on the record, which is Like Antennas to Heaven.
Right.
That is it's kind of I'm less familiar with Like Antennas to Heaven because I honestly don't make it through the entire record all that often.
Really?
I usually just listen to Static. Like, I really like the whole record, but a lot of times
it's really long.
Yeah, it's an incredibly long record. It's about an hour and a half long.
Yep.
And so I usually don't get to Like Antennas to Heaven, but it brings everything to a nice resolve.
Yeah, it's very dynamic.
Yes.
I mean, it goes. You have a lot of these really driving parts, and then more of the quiet parts.
They know how to keep you interested.
Yeah,
and actually engage you as a listener. Because I think there is a lot of more ambient rock that you can just sort of tune out and have as background music.
Sure.
And Godspeed was one of the first bands that, during a time when like post-rock was sort of being established as a genre on its own, Godspeed was one of the first bands to be like, hey, this is instrumental rock music that you can actually pay attention to, and that we're endeavoring to have things happen.
Yeah. I wanted to make note of the opening to the final track. A man singing a song about a baby.
Yes.
And sort of with this out of tune guitar somewhat. And what is he talking about doing with the baby? He's wrapping the baby up and throwing it in the thing and poking the baby in the eye. And
yeah, it's called Moya Sings Baby-O. I think that was, I feel like that's a pre-established song.
Yeah.
Sort of like it's just like one of those weird like folk songs where it's like, what the fuck are you doing? What
are they doing with the baby?
This is like a old kooky folk song, but it's, and then leads into the rest of that song. But yeah, it sort of distant in the background.
Right.
There's so much about this album that is just, I keep on hitting the table with my feet. There's so much about this album that is like distant. It almost feels like something you found when you listen to it. It's just like it's not something that you're really present for. It's just like, here's this weird thing that's just around. It's just here. I'm just like walking by it. and it keeps on playing. Like you're walking by these 4 really weird rooms, or like 4 separate concerts.
Yeah.
And you're just the sound of one fades out and then the sound of another one fades in. It's weird. Like you said, it's an extremely dynamic record. There's a lot of different things going on. And that's all of Godspeed. I feel like I think this is one of their most dynamic records, especially when you think about their newest work. Because Godspeed took a 10-year hiatus between record releases. Anyway, they toured, before, or they toured after they released their album in 2002, and then they toured a little bit before they released their record in 2012. But they took a pretty long hiatus in the middle there, and their newer stuff tends to be a little bit more unified in theme, and songs will sound a little bit more similar to one another. And of course, they still lead into one another, but nothing is quite as experimental as it used to be. Nothing is quite as wild as you would get on the first 3 albums, which were sonically so diverse and different. Their newer stuff tends to be a little bit more centralized, which I think is fine. I really, really like their album. What was it?
You know that one you really love.
The album of theirs that I really like.
It's always there at the top of your mind.
See, the problem is the name of like almost every one of their albums is so ridiculously fucking long.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like to cherry pick songs off of it, so it's difficult for me to remember sometimes. But yeah, like the names of all of their albums are so insanely long. Where the fuck is it? Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress. I really like that album. That came out in 2015. I really like that one. I'm not too familiar with their newest album, which is called Luciferian Towers. I'm not all too familiar with that one, but I really like Asunder, Sweet, and Other Distress.
Luciferian, is that how new is that? Is that
2017?
2017.
Yep.
So they're still doing it.
Oh yeah, they're still around. They're still going. They're still going.
Oh,
and,
yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
Sure, you betcha.
Oh yeah, sure, you betcha. So, yeah, Godspeed You Black Emperor. They're a strange collective. Guitarists, violinists, people play horns, people play drums. It's an interesting listen.
It's a great thing to listen to while you're sort of like puttering about. I found. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's just this sonic story.
Yeah, we've been talking outside of the podcast a little bit about how this is like we're talking about and comparing it to like ambient music, and how this serves a purpose. There's so much ambient music that is just sort of there to be background, and it's like, it'd be like off of a soundtrack where it's just supposed to be ambience for something else that is going on, and listening to it by on its own, you're supposed to do that. Focus on something else while this is in the background. This is music you focus on. This music is serving its own purpose.
Right, you can focus on the music.
Yeah.
But it is still sort of an ambient piece at the same time.
Yes, it is. There's so much going on that you can tune out, but you will very much be rewarded for paying attention.
Yep.
And it's music that is telling a story of some sort, and the band has been known for being very politically opinionated and that sort of thing, which is part of why they tend to use samples, because it's like you can't you get a vague idea of what the song is supposed to be about without needing any lyrics. Just like we're going to start the song out with a sample, and you sort of get an idea of what we're about and what we want you to be thinking on while you listen to the rest of this 21-minute track. And I like that. I think it's a very good way to present that sort of music to people. There are other post-rock bands that I really like and am interested in that don't quite do that and just sort of let you go with whatever emotions the song brings to mind. And I enjoy those for what they are, and I think they're amazing, like bands like Explosions in the Sky and Caspian and stuff like that. You're listening to it for the feeling of it and not really much else. They're not really telling a story. Godspeed really does feel like with every record they're telling some kind of story. And I appreciate that. I like it.
Oh yeah, it's very nice.
I like it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, brother.
We're having Abbey Ale, by the way.
Oh yeah. New Belgium, Abbey Ale, made in Colorado. The Fat Tire people.
It's very good. It actually has. It's true to the Abbey flavor. It's got that monastery taste.
Yes, I like it quite a bit. So next week we're kind of sticking with kind of the sort of ambient trend. If you recall the album you were going to bring for next week,
I do.
Yes. Okay.
We're gonna go to Ireland, and we're not actually gonna go to Ireland.
Not sonically, we'll be going to Ireland.
My Bloody Valentine's, Loveless. We're doing next week. What do you rank this one at, by the way?
Oh my gosh, we did not talk about any of our bullet points. I'm still so put off by my horrible experience
at lunchtime.
It's just the only thing I can think about.
Yeah.
Because I've just been the whole day going, I'm still not clean.
Sure.
Still not. I took a shower. Still not clean.
It's like it cut off your day.
Yeah. Does this album slap?
It doesn't slap.
I have to ask. I have to ask if the album slaps.
It's great, but it doesn't slap. It's not that type of thing.
Yeah, this album does not slap. I'll say maybe the last 2 minutes of World Police and Friendly Fire slaps. Other than that, no, it doesn't slap. It has a Metacritic score of 84%. Pretty good.
Yep.
My favorite song on the record is Static, and I am giving this a gold medal.
You know what? I wasn't sure what I was going to give it, and then I found myself wanting to listen to it a second time.
Yeah.
And since I wanted to listen to it a second time, I'm like, sold. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a gold. Yeah, it's a gold for me, too. My favorite one is Sadness. Not Sadness. Sleep. Sadness.
It might as well be called Sadness.
Yeah, it might as well be. I like Sleep as a song, but yeah.
And Sleep is a very good track, too. And also a great doom metal band.
Yeah. Indeed. Which I'm sure we will get to eventually.
Yeah, I think when we get out of September, we're going to get very quickly into some Sleep, I think.
Yeah.
We'll get there soon. What we might have to do first, though, really quick, is there's a new Infant Annihilator album out. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet in a sitting. It just, there is a lot of people saying very positive things about it, and I don't know if I agree. I kind of went into my first cursory listen of it a little like jaded, I guess, of just like, how good is this really going to be? Like it's I get the point. You guys are making really fast and complicated music.
Sure. Sometimes it almost comes off as a gimmick.
Oh, it's absolutely a gimmick.
Yeah.
The actual like touring band that those two are in is like a doomcore band. It's really
not Infant Annihilator.
It's really slow and really sludgy. It's extremely heavy, but Black Tongue is a very, very slow and sort of ponderous band.
Ponderous, man. It's ponderous.
It's ponderous. It's just kind of plods along, punching you in the face every once and again. But preponderous, is that what I meant to say?
I don't know. Maybe.
It's like ponderous.
Ponderous. That's a line from a movie.
Ponderous,
man. It's ponderous.
I don't even know. Ponderous would mean you think about it a lot, but I guess the implication is if you're walking along really thinking about something, you're probably moving pretty slow. Maybe. I don't know. I think the word is fuck it.
The word is fuck it. That's what it is.
The word is fuck it. I don't know anything about the English language.
The capital of Thailand.
I will say...
Or no, that's Bangkok. No.
Hey.
Not fuck it. No, where's fuck it is a...
Fuck it?
It's Phuket, actually, but...
Oh, God. I didn't even get the joke, so whatever.
Anyway.
Infant Annihilator is it's just kind of a gimmick, and I feel like it's for me at least, it's sort of it's played like it's done. Like it started out when they put their first record out, they were one of the only bands that was doing this, like, let's make really fast, like insane technical deathcore type stuff. You had Rings of Saturn at the time, but they were more of a serious touring band.
And they had those very manly music videos.
Yeah. They're manly from a certain point of view, I guess. There's a lot of man in them.
Yeah. They didn't invite the ladies to this party.
Yeah. Extremely homoerotic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can even really call them homoerotic.
Yeah, it's not.
It's straight up softcore gay porn. Made by a bunch of 20-something straight guys.
Well, and you know what I feel like that's kind of their attitude. If somebody said, "You're not making music fast and technical enough," oh yeah, hold on, be a motherfucker. And then they did Infant Annihilator and said, "Oh, that song is gay." Oh no, you haven't heard gay. Oh, we'll make a video.
And then Bro Job happened, and the joke was over. Like, we're gonna make something gayer than the Infant Annihilator music videos. It's a band. It's called Bro Job.
You don't get to call me gay. I'll show you gay.
Yeah. It's just I feel like the joke is kind of over with, but we'll give it a couple of weeks when we get back into a metal month.
See if it sinks in,
and see if I learn to appreciate the album a little bit more. Right now, it's too much music with not enough soul. Like Melancholy by Shadow of Intent, also very fast, also extremely technical, but there's a lot of heart on that record. The new Infant Annihilator, to me, just kind of sounds hollow. But we'll talk more about that later next week.
There is an album I want to get to at some point, possibly in October if we can, that I have to listen to every October that I can't believe we didn't do last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? You can't tell me now.
Well, I guess we'll wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. Is it something spooky because it's October?
I guess it's sort of spooky in its delivery in a way. Not really. It's a band I've seen in concert. Their singer's now dead.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure there are listeners out there who are yelling at it's this album.
Probably.
But it's one of those things where as soon as the leaves start falling, that's the album that plays in my head constantly.
Hitler Was a Sensitive Man by Anal Cunt.
You know what? God damn it! I was gonna hold that information until the week before, but no.
You said their singer was dead, so the first dead singer that came to mind was Seth Putnam. So. Seth Putnam was the first thing that popped into my head.
The second time Seth Putnam has come up today for some reason. Seth Putnam is a guy I don't agree with, but when he was talking about...
Well, the joke in the saying is Seth Putnam was not right about a lot of things, but he was right about Chris Barnes. If you don't know who Chris Barnes was, he was the previous lead vocalist for Cannibal Corpse. You should look him up. He's a giant dick.
Was.
What? Chris Barnes is still alive.
Was he still alive? I thought he was dead.
He's still doing 6 Feet Under.
Oh, yeah.
He's not literally 6 feet under. He's in a band called 6 Feet Under.
You can see my confusion.
Yeah. Seth Putnam, on the other hand,
is dead.
Is very dead. His body was full of so much heroin that they had to bury him in a plastic tub.
So as not to putrefy the soil around him.
Yes.
Grass won't grow here. Why? Heroin.
It's full of heroin.
These poppies spontaneously... Seth Putnam. Yeah,
it's Seth Putnam's grave. So yeah, we will get to My Bloody Valentine next week.
Next week.
Week after that.
Have you ever listened to any of their music?
Not really. It's adjacent to a lot of my interests, so I am excited to.
One of those things that just pops into my head randomly all the time.
Okay, well, I'm excited to get to it. The week after that, going to be talking about the newest album from I believe I want to say Louisville, Kentucky is where they're from.
Is that where
band
they're from?
Band called Listener. They're a spoken word rock band.
Do we have another week of not metal?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize we had
Well,
two more.
we'll do 4. We've only done 1 so far. It's only September 12th.
I think this is the second one.
Yeah, this is the second one. So there will be another one and another one. There's 4 weeks in a month, OJ.
But that's 5. Yeah, I don't know. I've lost my ground and now I'm just saying shit. So no, you're right. I don't know what's going on.
OJ, you can't mess with me on a day like this when I nearly shat myself.
Yeah.
If I had been wearing pants, I would have shat myself.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, time to say goodbye.
So long. Farewell.
Yeah. Okay. If you like this weird, stupid, shitty bullshit, see what I did there?
Theme.
Check us out on Twitter and Facebook as well.
Mm-hmm. Or Ibsen.
Or Ibsen.
Libsyn. Not Ibsen.
Well, that's, yeah. The Twitter and Facebook will lead you to Libsyn. Yeah. So don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
How do we end the podcast?
I don't remember how this is done.
I don't remember how this is done either. So thanks for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations. I wanted to get it in one. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Just like on the toilet earlier.
What is this podcast?
It's the Brown Metalist.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Brown Metalist Podcast.
Oh, man.